everyone, I'm Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. I'm a furniture painter in Sacramento, California, and I'm also a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint Company. And I'm fresh off of my takeover of the Dixie Belle Instagram page this week, which was a lot of fun. Thank you everyone who messaged and commented and participated in that with me. I hope you'll go follow the Dixie Belle Instagram page and also follow me on Instagram at Brushed by Brandy. So tonight I'm here for my Thursday evening live, and we've been working on this piece start to finish. So this is our third video together, and like I said from the beginning, I have not worked on this off of camera, so I'm showing you guys every step that I've done on here from start to finish. So at the end of this month, you should have a full tutorial on this piece here. So this is our third video tonight. We have our paint finish all laid onto the piece. This paint finish was done with Dixie Belle paint in Yankee Blue, Vintage Duck Egg, and Lemonade is what we settled on. And so this is the look we're working with now. Come on and let me know if you guys have any questions. My husband Sean is here to answer questions for me tonight and help me with the video. We're also going to be doing a giveaway for some Dixie Belle paint. Come on and like this post, share it, like my page at Brushed by Brandy, and you'll be entered to win an 8 ounce of Dixie Belle paint at the end of this broadcast. We'll pick a winner live on the broadcast. Okay, so tonight for our next step, now that we've got our paint finish all laid out on this piece, the next step is I want to put a top coat on here to preserve our paint finish. And then we're going to start layering finishes on top of that. But for right now, I want to preserve this paint finish. That's all settled. I like where we are with it. I want to set that in stone kind of. So for top coating, you have several choices, and there's a lot of personal preference that goes into play here. You can choose to use wax as your top coat. Wax is a great top coat. It gives a beautiful old vintage feel. It's got great texture. It does require some periodic maintenance. I have wax pieces in my house that I've had for about 2 years, and I'm just about to the point where I need to re-wax them. So it does require some periodic reapplication. That time period depends on how heavily you use the piece. So wax is one option for your top coat. Dixie Belle also has 3 clear coats. Their clear coat comes in a flat finish, a satin finish, and a gloss finish. So these are their regular clear coats. These are great for added durability to your paint. Your paint does have a top coat built into it, but this just gives it some extra durability. And then if you know your piece is going to be heavily used, so for example, dining tables or a top that is going to be heavily used in your home, Dixie Belle also has gator hide, and gator hide is rated for outdoor use as well. It's water repellent, so this is their most durable top coat. So I save this for pieces that I know are going to be handled a little more regularly than most. So for this piece here tonight, I'm going to use Dixie Belle Clear Coat. Not the gator hide. I'm going to use their clear coat and satin finish. This has become kind of my go-to finish. I like the low sheen of the satin. It's not as dead flat as the flat, but I'm not a glossy girl either. So I really like the satin. It lays in between and gives a beautiful finish.
So obviously there's a lot of highs all across.
Yeah, I won't say hi because you guys, last week I got put into Facebook jail because I was going back responding to all your highs and your comments, and I was just going down the list, talking to everyone, and I got put in Facebook jail for it because I was commenting too fast. So if I don't respond to everyone after the fact, it's not personal. I don't want to go to Facebook jail again. It was not cool.
There was also a hi thrown out there to a Sean with no middle name.
I'll let you take that one. I'm going to just zip it right there before I
we're good. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. If you get me talking, I'll spill the beans on just about everything. So what I like to do before I lay my top coat on, we've got 2 coats of paint on here, and I forgot my sanding sponge, so give me 1 second. Right here. Okay. So I like to take the same sanding sponge that we've been using throughout the process, and I like to give my my second coat of paint the same brush with my sanding sponge. I do this in between pretty much every step, and then my damp rag to remove any sanding dust. So I did that after my first coat of paint, I did it after my second coat of paint, and I'm going to do it in between coats of top coat as well.
And what other colors you ran through?
So this is Dixie Belle Yankee Blue. Vintage Duck Egg is our medium color, and then Lemonade is our highlight here in the center. And I blended these all on camera for you. We did this last week. Those videos are available on the Dixie Belle page under the videos tab, and they're also available on my page at Brushed by Brandy. I also have them uploaded to my YouTube channel. If you go search Brushed by Brandy on YouTube, it'll pop that up. All of this stuff I'm using tonight is also available through the link that I put in this post. That's my affiliate link, and I always appreciate purchases made through my affiliate link. Thank you to everyone who thinks of me when you guys do that. So tonight we're going to be using the Dixie Belle application sponge, and this is mine's a little well loved, you can see, but this is their application sponge, and these are relatively inexpensive, a few dollars on their website. And I dampen this sponge, so I've dampened it in my sink, and I squeeze out as much water as I possibly can. So this is damp, but you can see no water's coming out of there. That's just because the sponge is going to want to absorb whatever you put on it. So if you fill it with water first, then it's not going to soak up all the top coat into it instead. So now I'm going to take my sponge.
Can you do me a favor really quick? Can you just turn that piece a little more at an angle? Because it's going to be tough to catch the... Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I want you guys to see the sheen of the top coat as it goes on. So if you can't, let me know and I'll move it. So then you can take your clear coat and you can pour it into another container if you like. Tonight I'm just going to dip my sponge right into the clear coat. And then I just take this sponge and I'm going to wipe it onto my piece. Okay, and I try to keep my lines smooth. I'm going with the grain that's in the wood of my piece. I did a horizontal up here just to get it in under this lip right here, but then I'm coming back and cleaning that up with my vertical. Once I feel it start to skip a little bit, I know I need to refill my sponge. And I wanted to show you guys this because I get a lot of questions on how do you top coat dark colors. Now this is not a very good example of a really dark color, but our dark colors, if you're putting your top coat on, can you see this on camera? Can you see how this stripe right here is darker than the rest?
Yes.
See how it looks stripy? Okay, if you're top coating and your top coat looks stripy on a dark color, it will look stripy when it dries too. So when you're putting it on, you want to try to get as smooth and even a coverage as you can, even while it's wet. If it's streaky when it's going on, it's going to be streaky when it dries too. Dixie Belle clear coats are really nice because like hardware store polyacrylic sets up really fast and it starts getting sticky. With Dixie Belle clear coats, I can come back and clean up my strokes a little bit because it has a little bit longer open life. So I went over that a few times and it's not sticky or tacky at all yet.
We got a little bit of a blurry issue, so I'm gonna adjust.
Guys.
Let's see if I go on the Wi-Fi how we do.
Okay. Oh, the weather here is terrible right now. It'll be in the...
Okay.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Okay, so I did that, and now I'm going to come down here onto this molding, and I'm going to go horizontally. Now, when I'm doing clear coat, I also will take a chip brush out. Where's my chip brush? Up here. Because your clear coat can start gumming up in crevices and stuff. So, you know, say for example, right here in this crevice, I will come clean this up and then smooth it out. You know, I'm going to come up here and do this medallion detail. And I want to really kind of dig my clear coat in to all that detail. But then I can see it starts gumming up, and that will start to get drippy and it will dry looking clumpy. So I will come with my chip brush and just clean out the crevices. So in one hand, I'm usually working with the chip brush, and in the other hand, I have my application sponge. I'm just going to clean out all this medallion detail so I don't get drippy, clumpy top coat. And come up here onto this. Okay. So I will wipe down the entire piece just like I wiped down this side. For the sake of time tonight, I've already clear coated this front. So you can see it has a very low sheen on it. It's going to dry. Dixie Belle top coats are a little bit milky white. Here you can see on this lid here. And they go on a little bit milky and they dry clear. And I love that because I can tell when it's still wet to when it gets dry. It turns to that nice clear. So this front here, has already been clear coated in the satin. So just like I did that side, I've done this whole piece in a single coat already. From here, we really get to decide how do we want to finish this. I mean, this is a pretty look, and you could put your hardware on and leave it like this if you wanted to, but it's kind of basic. It's kind of simple, and the Dixie Belle products are meant to be layered on top of each other. So with each layer, you get an extra level of detail. So at this point, you could decide several things. You could decide to use a glaze. A glaze is a liquid, and it will find the low points on your piece, and it will sit into them, and then you wipe off anything from the high points. You could use a wax. You could do a paint wash over the top of it. Those three things, a paint wash, glaze, and wax, can give you a very similar look. So at this point, I find it's what's your personal preference? I really like working with wax. I'm not a fan of glaze. I just don't like doing it. That's just me personally. It's not because it's hard or anything. It's messy, but I just am comfortable with wax, and I usually tend to go towards wax if I can. I like this smeary, smudgy effect of a wax finish. So Dixie Belle waxes are water-based waxes, which means that they're meant to be used interchangeably with all of the Dixie Belle clear coats. So I have a clear coat on here. I could come in and I could detail this out with wax, and I could put another clear coat over the top of this. So with a lot of brands, the waxes are oil-based, and we all learn waxes last, waxes last. With Dixie Belle products, that is not the case. Wax does not have to be last. So here I can use wax as a detail product, and then I can come back and seal it under another layer of clear coat.
Now really quick, back to the clear coat. How many coats would you typically put on the top of this?
So I did a single coat on the whole body. And then I will do whatever my detail finishes are, and then I'll come back and do another coat. So in the end, I usually do 2 coats. Tops really depend. If I'm doing a tabletop with a stain finish, I can do as many as 5 or 6 layers of clear coat. It's really until you get the thickness and the durability of the clear coat that you want. So for a normal use piece like this side table here, I'm going to do 2 clear coats. It's going to be nice and smooth. But if you want that added durability, for tabletops, I like them like glossy, super clean. A lot of buffet tops, wood tops, I'll do that too as well. I will do 5 or 6 coats sometimes. So Dixie Belle waxes, you have a whole bunch of choices. This is their black wax. Let me get this sponge down here. This is their grunge gray wax, which I think the grunge gray would actually be really pretty over these colors here. This is a must-have. Their grunge gray wax is really, really pretty. And I have their brown wax out too. It also comes in a white and a clear, but I'm not going to use those tonight. So when I'm doing detail waxing, I'm not using wax for my top coat. I'm using it just to add some detail, add some extra interest, some layers. We've got shading in here with paint, but you can do shading with waxes too. I compare the texture waxes to like using oil pastels. If you've done art before and you know oil pastels, they just give you that smudgy, smeary effect, and waxes react the same way. So this is my box of art brushes, and I'll show you what I like using for waxes. So my favorites are some of these here. So these are all natural bristle brushes are what I use for waxing. This is a really thin one here that I'll use to get into small crevices. This one's a little bit wider, but still fairly small. If you're doing an all over wax finish, you'd want a bigger brush, but I'm just using it for detailing, so I've got small brushes out. So this one here I could use to dig into some of these medallions. And then I've got this small little Craft Smart brush. I just get these at Walmart, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, but they're just small natural bristle brushes is all I'm using. I did have a question for you guys that I want to cover before we go any further. If you remember in our first video, we took the hardware off and I put it in a dish. I soaked it in the mixture of 50-50 vinegar, white vinegar, and water.
Wait a minute, is that a fine china dish?
Yes, this is our fancy dishes right here. It's as fancy as the Colborne house gets. So I've got a bunch of these. I just get them at the dollar store. And then I scrubbed them clean. And so our hardware is clean. This is the original finish. It's nothing to brag about. We could leave them the original finish and put them back on. I wanted to get your guys' opinion. We can do whatever color you want on these. Do you like the natural finish? Do you want to go with a blackened hardware? We could spray paint them. Do you want to go full gold? What do you guys think would look good on here? Give me some feedback on what you think we should do with this hardware. Because I got a couple things out and we can deal with that afterwards. Let's start putting some wax on. So I'm feeling like I want to put some black wax. I want to make this a little more dramatic. It's very subtle and soft, and I want to make some of this pop. So I'm going to take the Dixie Belle black wax, and I'm just going to dip my little brush in here. It doesn't take a lot. Their waxes are really soft, so a little bit goes a long way. So I took the dip the tips of my brush, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to dig it into these. You know, this will help them show up a little bit better because I don't know how well you can see them on camera. I'm going to dig them right into there. If you've used glaze before, you could do this with glaze as well. You just paint your glaze on and then come back and wipe it off. I just really like working with waxes. So now you can see the details versus over here where I haven't done, and they barely stand out. They just really blend into the background. So I'm going to go all the way across and do all this leaf design in the black wax. I'm also going to get it down into this crevice right down at the bottom too. Pretty much all the low points on your piece is where I would put wax.
What color is that wax?
This is black wax. I use black wax on just about every single piece, even if I'm just shading it lightly. Black wax, you can layer waxes on to get it as light or as deep as you want. And then I just come back and I wipe it away. And this wax is so soft. You can see how easily it wipes away. This has got that clear coat on it. If you do not clear coat your piece, you can either clear coat it, clear wax it, whatever you want to use. You need to put something on before you start using any dark finishes like dark wax or glaze. Chalk paint is porous and it will absorb whatever you put onto it first. So if you put a dark glaze onto it first, your paint is going to absorb that and you won't be able to wipe it away. So you put the clear on top of it first to protect your paint and for control of whatever you put on top of it. So I'm able to control how much of this black wax I want. If you guys want to try anything on here, let me know. Like I said, this piece is really just for teaching. So
is this like a color by vote?
Yeah. We can do whatever we want to it. I was thinking maybe a blackened hardware would be really pretty on this because I'm using the black wax. But I could also see gold because I could take like some gilding wax and touch these with some gold and then tie it into the hardware, and that would be pretty.
So speaking of waxes, how the heck would you get if there's old wax that's in there when you're cleaning, how would you get it out?
Mineral spirits will remove old wax.
Okay.
So you can scrub it down with mineral spirits. Cleaning old wax is not fun. In fact, I actually have a piece. I did it myself and I waxed it, and I want to put clear coat on it now, and I need to strip all the wax back off of it. Okay. So I've gone kind of all around. It's very subtle, but I think...
Holly says you have her hooked on Outlander.
Oh, do I?
Oh,
I'm
mother.
sorry, Holly. And you know what's awful? I'm totally hooked too. But you know what's awful is like the season is almost over. There's only 2 more episodes, and then it's like a year before another one comes out. I'm gonna go into mourning. I know, it's good, huh? It's so good.
Darn.
Sean can laugh, but he watches it with me too. It's a good show. It's genuinely good. So now I'm going to take my fine brush here and my black wax, and I'm going to ride this crevice here. I just want to add some shadowing to this to kind of make this...
Can you guys see that, how it's a raised panel up there?
Yeah, I want to make this raised panel pop and add like a shadowing effect behind it. So I'm just writing this with my thin artist brush. I'm going to go all the way around it.
Dana says she's late to the show, but I think that's my
okay.
whole...
I'm always late. I was late
that's my life
too. Yeah. And then I'm going to take my slightly larger brush here, and I'm going to blend this out a little bit. This is adding extra depth and dimension to our finish. the subtleties make all the difference in your finishes sometimes. I'm going to dip this in a little bit more of the black wax.
Here, everybody's going to get to see my hand for a second.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to me, people. Any better?
Is it blurry again?
We're going blurry again. Right. So let's see what happens if we shut it off.
It is pouring here right now. All day long for like, it's just been pouring.
Hold on, okay, now go ahead.
It's supposed to mimic like finger dirt on a piece. So on my pieces, I do a lot of putting the wax on, taking it back off, putting it on, taking it back off. If I wanted to get, there's some cracks in here, that's from the original finish, but adding wax into those cracks would be kind of cute. So by putting it on and taking it back off would be similar to like, you know, this is a piece you've had for years and it's been cleaned, and this is the dirt that you just can't get, that just won't come off.
Here, I'm going to kind of kick to the side because of the shine.
So I will also take a finishing pad sometimes, and I will take that and just rub that lightly along. And again, I'm just lightening up the wax along the edges so it gives that smeary, smudgy effect. Because I really just want to use this kind of like for shading. I'm going to add a little bit of brown wax here on the edges. And I will put it on a little heavier than I want so I can come back and wipe it back. You know, I find like on white, since people want to go a little heavy on the wax, a little bit goes a long way.
So Nancy wants to know, what's the finishing pad? What is it?
It's an abrasive pad, so I would compare it to like a Scotch pad for cleaning your house, but it's very lightly abrasive. Dixie Belle has finishing pads on their website. They're only a few dollars. It's a little more gentle than steel wool, but it's not as abrasive as a sanding pad. So I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not a Dixie Belle one, but Dixie Belles are very similar to this. So it's just a fine abrasive.
Debbie, speaking of weather, Debbie says it's 30 below in Saskatchewan, but it feels like it's below 40 below.
I don't know what either.
I think once you go below is below.
Yeah. Now I'm going to come back and I kind of want to emphasize this edge detail in here. So I'm going to add some wax into here as well.
Now random only because it's on a camera shot. So the nightstand that's on the left.
Which one?
Do you have a video on that?
So you guys, wow, where did I do that video? I went live with Kristana. Where did we do it? I'm trying to think of what page we were on. I think it was on her page, on the Belle Renovare page. We were just casually painting and I worked on that nightstand. It was the one I totally botched on camera. Like everything kept going wrong with it. I was not in my zone at all. I didn't think we were going to be painting. I think it was, 2 weeks ago we did that. So yes, there is a video of it on Kristana, which is Belle Renovare's Facebook page. You will not be impressed with that video. I doubt you will learn very much because it was awful. But it came out really cute. Everybody was like, you should throw that in the garbage. And no, you stick with it. And I kept adding paint, adding different finishes until I got a look that I liked. But it did not go that way on camera. So if you want to see the real side of painting.
Is that the piece that threw you in jail?
No, this piece threw me in jail. That one just, I don't know, threw me for a loop. Like, I don't know. I just couldn't find my zone that night. I really thought I was just going to be hanging out with Kristana, and then I went on and she got all business mode on me, and I was like, oh man, I have to work. So, we did some shading with paint on this piece, and now I'm doing shading with waxes. I'm choosing the parts of my piece that would have gotten more finger use over time, which is going to be in the cracks and crevices, and I'm darkening them up with some wax. Let me come up here and do this top edge, and then you'll really be able to see the difference between the drawer we haven't done and this one here that we have done.
Man, these people start posting all these the temperatures around the state or around the country, we can't complain. Apparently,
Like a bunch of whiners. Well, okay, so you guys know we just built our house this year, so our house is brand new. This was a 5-acre lot that's been vacant, since the dawn of time. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking because we had to feel out, okay, we have this brand new house on this lot. Did we grade it properly? Is this water going to flow where it needs to flow? Knock on wood, we have not had any water issues through all this rain, but it's nerve-wracking. Your first winter in a brand new house. I'm happy to say that all the water's flowing down the driveway like it should be.
Never mind the 200 trees.
Yeah. Oh, we did have some tree branches come down last night. I mean, that's not horrible. We actually haven't lost power at all. I know a lot of areas are losing power right now. Okay, so I need to do over here. I haven't done this side of the drawer. It's hard for me to see over on this side, so sorry if my head's kind of in the way. So this is brown wax.
I just wanted to quickly say hi to Gary. He's on.
Oh, Gary. Gary and Sean go way back. They're like best buds.
Like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah. Gary, you're going to the conference, right? Sean will be there too. You guys can hang out, be bros at the conference. I'm kidding with you, Gary. I like you too. The annual Dixie Belle Retailer Conference is coming up next month. We'll all be traveling to Florida.
Maybe I'll try to pitch like a TV program. Didn't they have a program with guys with their kids? No?
No, that's not a thing.
No? Okay.
So you can see I'm just using kind of a feathering motion. I have very little wax on my brush. I'm using kind of the leftovers from applying it heavier everywhere else, and I'm just flicking the edges of this inside here. And it just adds this subtle shading around the edges. Can you see that on camera?
A little bit. You can stop getting your high-tech pointer out.
That's called my finger.
Yeah. Gary is going to conference.
Cool. Are you taking my class, Gary? So then, I'm just using, I haven't refilled this brush. I'm just using the residual that's on here. And I'm just using it where I want this light tone of waxes for this shading detail.
Can we see your brush?
Yeah. So this is the brush I'm using. It's by Craftsmart, but I've got a few different ones that are similar. These are similar. These are by Waverly. I get those at Walmart. This is from...
Hold on, let's focus in on your high-tech holder.
Oh, yeah. Hotter Pops.
Okay, kids, time to eat up some sugar.
That was a commercial break. Sorry about that, guys. Back to selling Dixie Belle. So this is another brand. It's slightly shorter bristles, so that it's a little firmer. This is by Waverly. This is by Craftsmart. Either one works. I just like this size for doing what I'm doing here. Even a chip brush would probably work okay. So you can see what I did. It just kind of added some shading on this edges here. We've darkened up this detail here. I'm going to come and add that dark wax into here. Any feedback on my hardware color at all?
It's kind of mixed. Black, silver, gold.
I don't do a lot of silver hardware, and I find that because silver looks fake. I haven't figured out a silver that looks, I don't know, that doesn't look fake silver. I do a lot of gold. I like the pop of gold. Against just about any color, gold looks pretty. But not everybody does gold. It can be very taste specific. So black is pretty neutral. I'm kind of leaning towards black on this one. Was hoping you guys would say black and agree with me. So now I'm digging this black wax into this detail over here.
How often do you clean the wax brushes?
Like never. I will, if you let them dry, they'll keep getting hard, and then before I go to use them, so let me find one that's not cleaned. Before I go to use it, I will just come through and I will wipe it onto a rag to loosen up the bristles again. But I don't clean them after every use. This one here I just used, and I used it on blue wax. So this one I'll need to clean before I use it again. But, gosh, I don't know, when they start getting too crusty to use them, I will clean them, and the way that I clean them, I should have brought it over here. I have it, I've shown it on camera before, but I have a little pad that goes on my hand. It's for cleaning makeup brushes. And I will take that pad and I'll put a drop of Dawn dish soap on there, and then I just take my brush and I rub it into the Dawn dish soap to loosen up the wax. And Dawn dish soap cuts through grease, so it cuts through the greasiness of the wax, and it cleans your brushes really easily. So that's how I clean wax brushes, not after every use, but I'll take them out and clean them. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get into this fluting here. See how soft the Dixie Belle waxes are? I mean, if I wanted to do an all over application of this black wax, it would go on really easily. But I really just want it to sit low into this fluted detail. So my paint
issues. Okay, go ahead.
And then I'm just wiping it back. So I love this, like comparing this side here that I've done to that side over there. That one looks fine, and it was perfectly pretty, but I just like the extra detail and the depth that getting some dark into these crevices gives. I'm going to kind of shade around the bottom of this leaf. Kind of set that off a little bit. Get this smaller brush. Just add kind of a little shadowing there. It's so subtle, you guys, but the subtleties make a big difference. Let's see. You know, you can go wherever you want to go with the...
Sorry, I had to throw a jazz hand in there and try to get the pixels out.
Weird that you know what a jazz hand is.
Oh man, that's, yeah.
Can
we retake that?
Do this leaf as well to match the top. So I'm asking about the hardware because ideally I want to get a coat on it. If we're going to paint it, I want to paint it at this point. Because I think next week we can add our, you know, I'll show you what I do for finishing touches, and then we can put our finishing touches on this, and this piece will be kind of done. And it's going to be available for sale. So if you've fallen in love with it as we've worked on it, please let me know.
Oh, I can buy it.
Yeah, we totally need more furniture. Okay, so I'm really curious how this conveys on camera, because to me in person it added some shading. It's just some subtleties. I think between this drawer and this drawer is where you notice it the most. But this is where details are really important. So I'm just going to make a judgment call. What's it say on the hardware? Black. Do you guys like black? I think I'm going to go black with the hardware, and then I'll add some glaze or some gilding wax on top of that. So I'm going to show you how I will paint hardware. So I'll take it all out, and I usually do the backs of it first. I'm going to lay all this hardware out. This is just a piece of cardboard from...
Don't worry, Ann, I'll get to it. Everybody wants... Well, there's a few people that want to see the dresser behind.
No! These are pieces I haven't shown yet. No! So, and then I'm just going to take a matte black spray paint. This is a Krylon version. I don't have one brand that I'm loyal to over another. But when I am choosing paint, I will usually invest in one that includes a primer versus the $2 a can matte black spray paint. I just want the extra durability in it. So I'm going to spray the backs of these, and then once this dries, I'll flip them over and do the fronts.
So where'd we get our cabinets?
Those yankee cabinets is in Sacramento. We got solid wood cabinets. We just built our house, you guys. Have a lot of cardboard. Okay, so that's one coat. So my goal is to get paint on the front and backs of these so that next time we go on camera with this piece, we can put the hardware on, put some gilding wax on it. I'm going to show you what I do to the insides of the piece also, how to wax the drawer glides, how to oil the insides of the drawer boxes, things like that, the little finishing touches. So, you know, everybody wants to watch me paint on camera. There's a lot more that goes into a piece than just painting. And, you know, the wax detailing is just one of them. So, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this wax detailing on this whole piece. And then when we come back next time, we'll do those finishing touches. I'll show you guys all the little finishes. People are buying custom furniture. They expect that you've gone through every inch of a piece. And I'm going to show you how I do that part of it too. So, yeah, let me know if you guys, excuse me, if you guys have any questions about top coat or wax detailing. Sorry, I got like a fuzz in my throat. Let's give away some paint.
Yes.
If you guys have liked my page at Brushed by Brandy and shared this post, then you're eligible to win an 8 ounce of Dixie Belle paint. And I get to choose a winner. Oops, sorry.
Oh, hold on.
Sorry, that was my fault.
There's an extra.
All right, I'm scrolling. All right, I have a winner, you guys. Leanne Richard. Leanne, you're my winner tonight. Thank you so much for watching. You won an 8 ounce of Dixie Belle paint, so message me on my page at Brushed by Brandy and I'll get all your shipping information so we can get that out to you. All my pieces in the background, you guys are coming. I've been busy this week. I've been over on the Dixie Belle Instagram page doing a takeover and reminiscing on some old pieces, but I have a whole bunch of new stuff coming too. So I just posted one today. It's this nightstand over here with the list of all the products I used. You can go find that on my page. Don't look at what's behind me. I'm not done with some of this yet, but I'll get them out there, okay? So thanks to you guys for watching. I'm going to get this up on YouTube as well so you guys can see all 3 videos. We're almost done. Thank you. Have a good night.